Wild rabbits. Masters of speed, stealth, and survival. In meadows, forests, deserts, and grasslands across the globe, wild rabbits have carved out an existence that defies their reputation as mere prey animals. These remarkable lagomorphs have evolved into sophisticated survivors, equipped with an arsenal of physical adaptations, behavioral strategies, and social structures that have allowed them to thrive for millions of years. Far from being helpless creatures, wild rabbits represent one of nature's most successful examples of evolutionary refinement, combining explosive speed, remarkable stealth, and intricate survival tactics that continue to fascinate naturalists and scientists alike. The evolutionary journey of rabbits. Wild rabbits belong to the family Leporidae, which diverged from other mammals approximately 40 million years ago during the Eocene epoch. Unlike their distant rodent cousins, rabbits and hares developed as a distinct order called Lagomorpha, characterized by their unique dental structure featuring two pairs of upper incisors rather than one. This evolutionary path led to creatures perfectly adapted for a herbivorous lifestyle in open and semi-open habitats where predation pressure shaped every aspect of their biology. The European rabbit, scientifically known as Oryctolagus cuniculus, originated in the Iberian Peninsula and has since become one of the most widespread mammals on Earth, both through natural expansion and human introduction. Other species, such as the cottontail rabbits of North America and the diverse rabbit species of Asia and Africa, demonstrate the remarkable adaptability of the lagomorph body plan to various environmental conditions. Each species has refined the basic rabbit blueprint to suit its particular ecological niche, yet all share the fundamental traits that make rabbits such effective survivors. Physical adaptations. Built for survival. The rabbit's body is a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering, with every feature serving a critical survival function. Their most obvious adaptation is their powerful hind legs, which contain dense muscle fibers capable of generating explosive force. These legs allow rabbits to reach speeds of up to 45 miles per hour in short bursts, with the ability to change direction almost instantaneously. This agility proves crucial when evading predators such as foxes, coyotes, hawks, and owls that view rabbits as a primary food source. The skeletal structure of rabbits reflects their need for speed and maneuverability. Their bones are relatively light and their spine is extremely flexible, allowing them to execute the characteristic zigzag running pattern that makes them so difficult to catch. However, this lightweight construction comes with a trade-off. Rabbit bones are fragile and can fracture if the animal is handled improperly or falls from a height. This vulnerability has influenced rabbit behavior, making them cautious and constantly alert to potential dangers. Perhaps no feature is more iconic than the rabbit's large, independently rotating ears. These remarkable organs can swivel nearly 180 degrees, allowing rabbits to pinpoint the location of sounds without moving their heads and revealing their position. The ears also serve as thermoregulatory organs, dissipating excess heat through their extensive blood vessel networks. In hot climates, this function becomes critical for survival, as rabbits lack the ability to sweat and must rely on panting and heat dissipation through their ears and respiratory system. A rabbit's eyes are positioned on the sides of its head, providing nearly 360-degree vision with only a small blind spot directly in front of the nose and behind the head. This panoramic vision allows rabbits to detect predators approaching from almost any direction while their heads are down during feeding. The eyes are optimized for detecting motion rather than fine detail, a sensible adaptation for prey animals where spotting a moving predator is more important than identifying static objects. Additionally, rabbits have a reflective layer behind their retinas called the tapetum lucidum, which enhances their vision in low-light conditions, making dawn and dusk activity safer. The rabbit's nose twitches constantly, a behavior that serves multiple purposes. This motion draws air over the olfactory receptors, allowing rabbits to sample scents continuously and detect predators, locate food, and identify other rabbits. Their sense of smell is remarkably acute, enabling them to detect subtle changes in their environment that might signal danger or opportunity. Combined with their hearing and vision, this olfactory sensitivity creates a comprehensive sensory system that keeps rabbits informed about everything happening in their territory. The art of concealment and camouflage. While rabbits are justifiably famous for their speed, stealth represents an equally important survival strategy. Wild rabbits have evolved coloration that blends seamlessly with their habitats, providing crucial camouflage that makes them nearly invisible when they freeze in place. European rabbits typically display agouti coloring, where individual hairs are banded with different colors, creating a mottled brown-gray appearance that matches dried grass, soil, and underbrush. Desert cottontails feature sandy-colored fur that blends with arid landscapes, while snowshoe hares famously change their coat color seasonally, wearing brown in summer and white in winter to match the snow. The behavior of freezing represents a critical survival tactic that rabbits employ when they detect potential danger but haven't been directly spotted. When a rabbit freezes, it becomes a statue, suppressing all movement except the subtle twitching of its nose. This immobility, combined with natural camouflage, often allows predators to pass by without noticing the rabbit. The animal must calculate the precise moment to remain still versus when to flee, a decision that can mean the difference between life and death. Rabbits typically remain frozen until a threat comes too close, at which point they explode into motion, startling the predator and gaining precious seconds of escape time. Wild rabbits also employ stealth in their daily movements and routines. They create networks of paths through vegetation, establishing regular routes between feeding areas and burrows that allow them to move quickly and quietly through their territory. These trails become so well worn that they form visible tracks through grass and underbrush, functioning as rabbit highways that provide escape routes when danger threatens. Rabbits memorize these paths and the locations of potential hiding spots, creating a mental map of their home range that proves invaluable during emergencies. Warren life, underground cities. The burrow system, or warren, represents one of the most sophisticated aspects of rabbit society and survival strategy. European rabbits are the primary architects among rabbit species, constructing elaborate underground tunnel systems that can extend for dozens of meters and house multiple families. These warrens feature multiple entrance and exit holes, providing escape routes in various directions when predators attempt to dig into the system. The tunnels include nesting chambers, resting areas, and even designated latrine locations, demonstrating a level of organization that rivals many other social mammals. Warren construction requires significant effort and cooperation. Dominant rabbits typically occupy the central, most secure portions of the warren, while subordinate individuals reside in peripheral areas that offer less protection but still provide shelter from weather and predators. The tunnels maintain relatively stable temperatures year-round, staying cool in summer and warm in winter, which conserves energy and allows rabbits to dedicate more resources to reproduction and growth rather than temperature regulation. Not all rabbit species construct warrens. Cottontail rabbits, for instance, are generally solitary and use simple burrows or surface nests called forms. A form is merely a shallow depression in grass or under a bush where a rabbit rests during the day, relying on camouflage and immobility rather than underground protection. This difference in behavior reflects the diverse evolutionary paths that rabbits have taken, with each species adopting strategies suited to its particular environment and predator pressures. Social structure and communication. Wild rabbits exhibit complex social behaviors that enhance individual and group survival. European rabbits live in hierarchical groups where dominance relationships determine access to the best feeding areas, breeding opportunities, and warren locations. Males establish dominance through ritualized combat that includes boxing, chasing, and aggressive displays, while females maintain their own separate hierarchy. These social structures reduce conflict and create predictable interactions that allow the group to function cohesively. Communication among rabbits involves a sophisticated array of signals. Scent marking plays a crucial role, with rabbits possessing chin glands, inguinal glands, and anal glands that produce distinctive odors. By rubbing their chins on objects, depositing fecal pellets in specific locations, and leaving scent marks throughout their territory, rabbits create an olfactory landscape that conveys information about identity, sex, reproductive status, and territorial boundaries. Other rabbits can read these scent marks to understand the social environment without direct confrontation. Body language provides another communication channel. A rabbit's ear position, posture, and tail displays convey emotional states and intentions. When alarmed, rabbits may thump their powerful hind legs against the ground, creating a percussive warning signal that alerts other rabbits to danger. This alarm behavior exemplifies the cooperative aspects of rabbit society, where individuals warn their neighbors even though the sound might attract predator attention to the signaler. The white underside of the tail, visible when raised during running, serves as a visual alarm signal that helps group members coordinate their escape responses. Vocal communication, while less prominent than in many mammals, still plays a role in rabbit interactions. Rabbits produce various sounds including grunts, snorts, and in extreme distress, high-pitched screams. Female rabbits communicate with their young through soft clucking sounds, and males may produce clicking sounds during courtship. These vocalizations supplement the primarily visual and olfactory communication systems that rabbits employ. Feeding strategies and dietary adaptations. As strict herbivores, wild rabbits have evolved remarkable digestive capabilities that allow them to extract maximum nutrition from plant material. Their diet consists primarily of grasses, forbs, bark, twigs, and in winter, whatever vegetation remains accessible. Rabbits practice selective feeding, choosing the most nutritious parts of plants when available, including young shoots, leaves high in protein, and flowers that provide concentrated nutrients. The rabbit digestive system includes an unusual process called coprophagy, or the consumption of fecal pellets. Rabbits produce two types of feces: hard, dry pellets that are excreted and soft, moist cecotropes that are eaten directly from the anus. This behavior allows rabbits to digest their food twice, extracting vitamins, proteins, and nutrients that microbial fermentation in the cecum produces during the first pass through the digestive system. While this behavior may seem unappetizing, it represents an elegant solution to the challenge of extracting sufficient nutrition from plant material that is difficult to digest. Feeding typically occurs during crepuscular periods at dawn and dusk, when lighting conditions offer some protection from predators while still providing enough visibility to detect threats. Rabbits venture from their burrows or forms to feeding areas, remaining vigilant while grazing. A feeding rabbit spends most of its time with its head down, cropping vegetation with its sharp incisors, but it raises its head frequently to scan for danger. This constant vigilance means that rabbits never fully relax during feeding sessions, always maintaining awareness of their surroundings. During winter, food scarcity forces rabbits to adapt their feeding strategies. They may consume bark from trees and shrubs, dig through snow to reach dried grasses, and travel farther from their burrows in search of nutrition. This increased activity and exposure during harsh weather creates additional survival challenges, as weakened rabbits become more vulnerable to predation and environmental stress. Winter mortality can be substantial, particularly for young rabbits experiencing their first cold season. Reproduction. The strategy of abundance. Rabbits are renowned for their reproductive capacity, a trait that reflects their position as prey animals subject to high mortality rates. Female rabbits, called does, can produce multiple litters per year, with each litter containing 4 to 8 offspring on average. In favorable conditions with abundant food and mild weather, a single female might produce 5 or more litters annually, potentially contributing dozens of offspring to the population within a single year. The gestation period lasts approximately 30 days, and does can become pregnant again immediately after giving birth, a phenomenon called postpartum estrus. This reproductive efficiency allows rabbit populations to rebound rapidly after periods of high mortality. However, this fecundity comes with costs. Does must invest substantial energy in pregnancy and lactation, and juvenile rabbits face high mortality rates during their first few months of life. Newborn rabbits, called kittens or kits, are born hairless, blind, and completely dependent on maternal care. Does construct special nesting burrows called stops for their litters, lining these chambers with grass, fur plucked from their own bodies, and other soft materials. In contrast to many mammals, rabbit mothers visit their young only once or twice daily for brief nursing sessions lasting just a few minutes. This behavior minimizes the scent trail to the nest and reduces the likelihood that predators will discover the vulnerable kits. Young rabbits develop rapidly, opening their eyes at about 10 days and venturing from the nest at 3 weeks. By 6 weeks, They are fully weaned and independent, though they may remain near their birth warren for several more weeks before dispersing to find their own territories. This rapid development cycle allows rabbits to reach reproductive maturity quickly, with some females capable of breeding at just 4 to 5 months of age. Predator evasion. A life of constant vigilance. Rabbits face predation pressure from a diverse array of hunters, including terrestrial predators like foxes, coyotes, weasels, stoats, and domestic dogs and cats, as well as aerial threats from hawks, eagles, owls, and other raptors. This constant danger has shaped every aspect of rabbit behavior and ecology, creating animals that live in a state of perpetual alertness. When a rabbit detects a predator, its response depends on the distance to threat and available escape options. If a predator is far away, the rabbit may freeze and rely on camouflage. At intermediate distances, the rabbit typically flees to the nearest burrow or heavy cover, using its speed and agility to outmaneuver the pursuer. If caught in the open with a predator too close to outrun, a rabbit may employ desperate tactics including sudden directional changes, leaps, and even aggressive defense, using its powerful hind legs to kick at the attacker. The famous zigzag running pattern that rabbits employ during escape serves multiple purposes. These unpredictable movements make it difficult for predators to anticipate the rabbit's trajectory and successfully pounce. The pattern also allows rabbits to assess their surroundings while running, checking for escape routes and obstacles that might hinder pursuit. This running style is energetically expensive and can only be maintained for relatively short distances, so rabbits must reach safety quickly or risk exhaustion and capture. Rabbits also rely on the safety of numbers, a concept known as the many eyes hypothesis. In areas where rabbits are active in groups, multiple individuals scan for threats, increasing the likelihood that a predator will be detected early. When one rabbit spots danger and flees or thumps an alarm, others in the vicinity respond immediately, creating a wave of escape behavior that can confuse predators and improve individual survival chances. Environmental challenges and adaptations. Beyond predation, wild rabbits contend with numerous environmental challenges that test their survival capabilities. Weather extremes represent significant threats, particularly for juvenile rabbits and those in marginal habitats. Harsh winters can cause starvation when snow covers food sources, while summer heat can lead to hyperthermia in regions where shade and water are scarce. Rabbits have evolved behavioral adaptations to cope with these challenges, including selecting microhabitats that offer thermal protection and adjusting activity patterns to avoid temperature extremes. Disease poses another major survival challenge. Myxomatosis and rabbit hemorrhagic disease, RHD, have devastated rabbit populations in regions where these viruses have been introduced, sometimes reducing populations by 90% or more. In Australia, where European rabbits were introduced and became ecological pests, these diseases were deliberately released as biological control agents. Wild rabbits in affected areas face ongoing mortality from these diseases, though some populations have evolved partial resistance over time. Parasites including fleas, ticks, mites, and internal worms affect rabbit health and can reduce survival and reproductive success. Heavy parasite loads can weaken rabbits, making them more susceptible to predation and less capable of surviving environmental stressors. Rabbits have limited ability to control parasites, though grooming behavior and the selection of clean nesting areas help reduce parasite burdens to some degree. Habitat loss and fragmentation represent modern threats that challenge rabbit populations globally. Agricultural intensification, urban expansion, and changes in land management practices have reduced the availability of suitable rabbit habitat in many regions. Rabbits require a mosaic of habitat types, including areas with good cover for protection, open spaces for feeding, and suitable soil for burrow construction. When these elements are absent or separated by barriers, rabbit populations decline. Rabbits in the ecosystem. Wild rabbits play vital ecological roles that extend far beyond their direct interactions with predators and plants. As primary consumers, they convert plant material into animal protein, supporting predator populations and facilitating energy transfer through food webs. Many predator species rely heavily on rabbits as a food source, particularly generalist predators like foxes and buzzards whose populations fluctuate in response to rabbit abundance. Through their feeding activities, rabbits influence plant communities and vegetation structure. By selectively browsing certain plant species and avoiding others, rabbits can alter the competitive balance among plants and affect overall plant diversity. In some ecosystems, rabbit grazing maintains open grassland habitats that would otherwise succeed to scrubland or forest, creating conditions that benefit grassland specialist species. Rabbit burrowing activities modify soil structure and nutrient distribution. The excavation of warrens brings subsoil to the surface, creating mounds with different mineral composition than surrounding areas. These disturbed areas often support distinctive plant communities and provide microhabitats for invertebrates and other small animals. Abandoned rabbit burrows are frequently adopted by other species including reptiles, amphibians, and small mammals that use them for shelter and breeding sites. The dynamic relationship between rabbit populations and their predators creates fluctuating cycles that cascade through ecosystems. When rabbit numbers are high, predator populations increase in response to abundant food. The growing predator population eventually suppresses rabbit numbers, which then leads to predator decline due to reduced food availability. This cycle repeats over periods of several years, creating oscillating population dynamics that influence numerous other species sharing the ecosystem. Conservation and human relationships. The relationship between humans and wild rabbits is complex and often contradictory. In their native range, particularly in parts of Europe, rabbit populations have declined due to habitat loss and disease, prompting conservation concerns. The European rabbit is now classified as endangered in its native Iberian Peninsula, a striking reversal for a species once considered superabundant. Conservation efforts focus on habitat restoration, disease management, and population monitoring to prevent further declines. Conversely, in regions where rabbits were introduced by humans, particularly Australia and New Zealand, they are considered serious pests that cause extensive agricultural damage and environmental degradation. Australian rabbits alone cause hundreds of millions of dollars in agricultural losses annually, and have contributed to the decline of native plant and animal species through competition and habitat modification. Control efforts including fencing, shooting, poisoning, and biological control with diseases have had mixed success and raise ethical questions about animal welfare. This dichotomy illustrates the ecological principle that species can be valued very differently depending on context. A rabbit in Spain may be a treasured component of Mediterranean ecosystems and an important prey species for endangered predators like the Iberian lynx, while a rabbit in Australia represents an invasive threat to biodiversity and economic interests. Understanding and managing these conflicting perspectives remains an ongoing challenge for wildlife managers and conservationists. Conclusion: the enduring success of rabbits. Wild rabbits exemplify how evolutionary pressures can shape organisms into highly specialized survivors. Their combination of speed, stealth, sensory acuity, social organization, and reproductive capacity has allowed them to persist and often thrive despite intense predation pressure and environmental challenges. Every aspect of rabbit biology and behavior reflects adaptations refined over millions of years, creating animals that are far more sophisticated than their cuddly appearance might suggest. As both prey and ecological engineers, rabbits occupy crucial positions in the ecosystems they inhabit. Their success demonstrates that being a prey animal does not mean being passive or helpless. Instead, rabbits have evolved active survival strategies that make them formidable opponents for predators and resilient survivors in challenging environments. From the frozen tundra where Arctic hares endure winter's harshness to the deserts where cottontails survive on minimal water, rabbits continue to demonstrate the versatility of their basic body plan and behavioral repertoire. The study of wild rabbits offers insights into predator-prey dynamics, population ecology, animal behavior, and conservation biology. These animals serve as models for understanding how evolutionary pressures shape survival strategies and how populations respond to environmental changes. As human activities continue to modify habitats and climates worldwide, rabbits face new challenges that will test their adaptability and resilience. Whether they can continue their evolutionary success story into an uncertain future remains to be seen, but their track record suggests that underestimating these masters of speed, stealth, and survival would be a mistake. In fields and forests around the world, wild rabbits continue their ancient dance with predators and environment, embodying millions of years of evolutionary wisdom in their every cautious hop and explosive sprint toward safety.